You record a simple sentence, press play, and immediately hear a stranger using your words. You recognize the rhythm. You remember making the sound. Everyone else knows it is you. But the voice coming from the speaker does not feel completely yours. So what vanished between speaking and playback? The first part of the answer is physical. When you speak, your voice reaches your ears through the air, just as it reaches everyone else. Sound leaves your mouth, moves around your head, and enters your ear canal. But you also hear another version traveling through your own body. Vibrations move through your jaw, skull, tissue, and skin before reaching the inner ear. These internal roots change the sound, often making it feel fuller and deeper than the version carried through the air. A microphone outside your body cannot capture that private route in the same way. So playback does not simply add a strange sound, it removes part of the voice you normally know. That explains why a recording may sound thinner or brighter, but it does not fully explain why the voice can feel as though it belongs to someone else. After all, a bad phone connection can distort a friend's voice, and you still recognize them. A voice can change in pitch, quality, or volume without losing its identity. Your own recording creates a more specific conflict. You recognize the speaker, but the voice does not feel fully owned. That distinction matters. Recognition depends on patterns that remain stable across many situations. A sentence may be whispered, shouted, recorded from across a room, or squeezed through a small speaker, yet its rhythm and articulation can still identify the person. The feeling of ownership asks for more. It asks whether the sound matches what your body is doing right now. That is because your normal voice is not only something you hear, it is something your body is doing. As you speak, your throat vibrates, your jaw moves, your tongue and lips shape the air. Small pressures and movements appear across your face, neck, chest, and skull. All of those sensations arrive at the same time as the sound. You have experienced that combination thousands of times, not as an object somewhere in the room, but as an action beginning inside you. Then you press play. Your mouth is still, your throat is silent, your face feels nothing, yet your words suddenly arrive from a phone or a speaker. The recording has turned a bodily action into an external event, and your brain notices that difference. Whenever you produce a movement, the brain predicts part of what the movement should feel like. When you reach for a cup, it expects your arm to change position. When you speak, it expects a particular mixture of sound, vibration, and movement. The voice you hear while speaking does not arrive as a complete surprise. The brain already knows that an action is underway and prepares for its likely sensory result. This prediction is useful because the world is full of sound. Your brain needs to distinguish a noise you caused from a noise that may require attention. The voice produced by your own moving mouth arrives with a built-in explanation. A recording arrives as a familiar sound without the action that would normally explain it. Playback arrives without that preparation. There is no speaking command now. No moving mouth. No matching vibration inside the skull. The sound still contains your accent, timing, pauses, and vocal habits. Those clues are enough to identify the person. But the bodily evidence of producing the voice is missing. The sound says, "That is me." The body says, "I am not making this." Both impressions can exist at once. This is the central reason a recording can be unmistakably yours and still feel wrong. Recognition and ownership are related, but they are not the same process. And experiments show how flexible that sense of ownership can be. Researchers have allowed people to speak while hearing a voice altered or replaced in real time. When the new sound follows their speech closely enough, matching the timing of their own movements, it can begin to feel like a modified version of their own voice. The replacement does not always need to sound exactly like them. Timing can be enough to make the brain ask, "Did my action cause this?" But introduce a noticeable delay, break the match, or make the voice produce something that does not fit the person's movement, and the feeling of ownership weakens. The illusion begins to fall apart. The experiment reverses the ordinary recording problem, A recording gives you the correct voice without the matching action. The experiment can give you the wrong voice with the matching action. In both cases, ownership depends on whether the clues agree. That reveals something important. The brain does not decide that a voice is yours by comparing it with one perfect recording stored in memory. It builds the feeling from several clues: vocal features, movement, expected feedback, bodily vibration, and precise timing. Ordinary speech supplies those clues together. A recording supplies only part of them. This also explains why everyone else recognizes your recorded voice so quickly. Other people have spent years hearing the airborne version. They do not normally feel the vibration in your skull or the movements in your throat. They know your voice through the patterns that survive outside your body. The way you form words, move between sounds, place emphasis, pause, and control rhythm. To them, a reasonably natural recording may sound familiar because it resembles the version they have always heard. You have learned a different version. Your internal model includes the external sound, but it also includes the private signals produced while speaking. When those signals disappear, the remaining voice may still be identifiable, yet unfamiliar. You and everyone around you are not hearing one fixed object correctly or incorrectly. You have learned different perspectives on the same voice. This is why the common claim that the recording is your real voice is misleading. The voice inside your head is not exactly what other people hear. But a recording is not a perfectly neutral truth either. The microphone changes with its distance and design. The room adds reflections. Compression can remove detail. The speaker or headphones reshape the signal again. Change the equipment or the room, and the supposedly real voice changes too. There is the voice you experience while speaking, built from air, vibration, movement, and prediction. There is the voice another person hears from a particular position in a particular room. And there is the version a recording system captures and rebuilds through another device. They are connected, but none is the single complete voice. They are different encounters with the same person. Repeated exposure can make the recorded version feel less disturbing. The brain gradually learns the external pattern and adds it to its model of you. The sound may never become identical to the voice you experience from inside your body, but it stops feeling like such a sharp violation of expectation. This is also why the first reaction is not necessarily vanity. It may seem that the recording has exposed an unattractive hidden truth. Too high, too nasal, too flat, too unfamiliar. But the unease begins before that judgment. It begins when a signal that normally belongs to an active, vibrating body appears detached from that body. Only then do you start evaluating the sound. A recording does not simply show you how you sound. It lets you meet your own voice in the way you almost never do, as something outside yourself. That is why everyone else recognizes it while you hesitate. They hear a familiar person. You hear the same person without the internal evidence that usually says, "I am making this." Your recorded voice is not a stranger, and it is not the one true version of you. It is your voice after the body has been removed from the experience.